Okay, so this is 145, and what it's asking you to do is to take the article and the adjective and then make them agree. So we're working with, in the first half of the activity, you've got el, and that is the indefinite article, the definite article. In the second half, you've got un, which is the indefinite article. So for here, computadora, if you look back at your book, and you see computadora, computadora is feminine. So then you can say, you would use the, oops, I don't want that one. You're going to use the feminine the, which is la, and then you're going to take caro, which is the adjective. And remember that if an adjective ends in o, you can replace the o with an a and get cara. You could add an s to the o if your noun being described as being expensive happens to be masculine and plural, or you can make it caras if it's feminine and plural. This is singular and plural, so cara is the spelling that I would want. Here for estudiantes, I'm still looking here in this group right here. Okay. So for estudiantes, I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's a mixed bag, males and females. So I need the masculine plural, the, which is los, and then simpático can either be simpático. I can add an s to it if there's something plural. I could change that O to an A if it was feminine, and I could add an S to that A if it was feminine and plural. This is masculine and plural, so I'm going to go back to simpático, and I just add an S, and that's how I make simpáticos agree with estudiantes. Señoras, I have el, so I would want it to be, I need the feminine plural, which would be las to match señoras, and then trabajador. Trabajador is one of those special ones because if adjectives end in something other than O, they're not supposed to get a feminine form, but if it ends in DOR, it can. So I can either use trabajador, I could add an ES to it if there were multiple hardworking people and they were males. If they're females, I can add an A to it and get trabajador, or I can add an S to that if there's multiple females that are hardworking, which is the case here. So it would be las trabajadoras. Profesor would be el profesor, and then aburrido. I'm going to leave everything alone because profesor is masculine and singular, and that's the form they gave it to me in. Now I'm down to indefinites, okay? So now I'm going to look at the bolds down here. I'm not looking up here anymore. So profesores is feminine and plural. So the feminine plural form of some would be unas. Unas. And then I have inteligente. Since inteligente ends in an E, I cannot make it feminine, but I can still add an S to it to make it plural, which is what I need to do for profesoras. Clase, if you go out here and you look at your book, la clase shows us that clase is feminine. Okay, so I would need the that's feminine, which is una, so una clase, and then I have pequeño. Pequeño I could add an S to if it was something masculine and there was more than one of them that was small, or I could change it to pequeña, or I can add an S to it if it was something that was feminine and multiple feminine things that were small. In this case, it's just one, so I just changed my O to an A and got pequeña. Libro, un libro interesante. I don't need to change anything because it's masculine word. Bolígrafos, I need the some that's masculine and plural, which would be unos. And then I have azul. Azul ends in L, so there is no feminine form, but I do need to make it plural. When you make a word plural, if it ends in a consonant, you add ES to it. So it's bolígrafos azules. Okay, and that's how you do that one. Okay. So for 144, again, I think it's just an issue of you remembering to switch between the definite and the indefinite article. You had to plug in either the definite or the indefinite. You had to make a choice. For the definite, when you use el, los, las, and las, you're looking for the. And when you use un, una, unos, unas, you're looking for a, and, or some. Okay, so here, ¿qué hay en mi mochila? Tengo papeles importantes. It probably makes more sense to say I have some important papers if you're thinking about what's in your book bag. So if you're looking at some, papers is masculine and it's plural. So the some that I would want to use is the masculine plural one. So I would put unos here. Tengo unos papeles importantes. Tengo tarea preparada para mañana. So I have the homework prepared for tomorrow. This one I would use as the, and since tarea is feminine and singular, I would use the feminine singular the, which would be la. También tengo, I would say I have a red notebook and a white notebook. So if I'm doing cuaderno is masculine and singular. And how do I know that? If you don't know, then you can go back out here and you can see cuaderno is masculine and singular. You're given the definite article with your word. That doesn't mean you have to always use it with that. You're never given your vocabulary words as pen, calculator, computer. You're given the pen, the calculator, the computer, just so you know the gender of the word. That doesn't mean that you always have to say the. You can replace that L and la with indefinite articles with us and somes and with possessive adjectives like my pen, his pen, her pen. They're just given to you that way so that you know whether it's masculine or feminine. So then if I want to say I have a notebook, notebook is masculine, but would be un, not el. And I'm going to use it here too. But then I'm saying, so I have a red notebook and a white notebook. The red notebook is big, the white notebook is small. Now I'm switching back to the, so then I would plug in my L's, because cuaderno is masculine and singular. I have some pencils, but I need some pens. So I think some makes more sense there, because when we're talking about our pencils, you're not saying I have the pencils, you're saying I have some pencils. So some for pencils, pencil is masculine and singular. So if you look out here, lápiz is masculine, but in this particular activity, pencils is masculine and plural. So you would want to use unos. Tengo unos lápices, pero necesito, and bolígrafo is also masculine. So if you look out here, here's bolígrafo, it's masculine, but in this activity we've made it plural. And so you need unos again. So you just need to make sure that you're being careful to use, when it's asking for definites and indefinites, that you're using both and not just sticking with one, or you're going to get it wrong. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here it tells you change each sentence from singular to plural. So we have to make everything agree in Spanish. You can't just make one word plural. So if I would start with the noun. So if I have the noun, what's small, everything is agreeing with the noun. So I'm going to take mesa and make it plural. So if I want to say the tables, I originally had la. Okay, I cannot use la anymore. I need the that matches tables. La matches table, so I have to add an S to it. Then I had small. That matches table, small table, but I have small table, so I have to add an S to that. Then that was saying the small table is black. Now I want to say the small tables are black, so I have to change my es to son. And then I would take my negra, black went with table, but I need it to be blacks for table. So that's a tricky thing in Spanish, that you have to make everything agree. We don't do that in English. Okay, I just wanted to get Sarah up here too. Okay, so if we go back here, okay, so la mochila gris es barata. So again, I'm going to start with the mochila. Mochila, I've got to make mochila plural, so since it ends in a vowel, I add S. And because I've made mochilas plural, now I can't use the singular form of the, I need the plural form. So if I go back up here, the feminine plural form of the is las. So now I'm going to make it las mochilas. And then I can't have gray, I've got to make it plural. If a word ends in a consonant, I'm supposed to add es to make it plural. This was the gray book bag is cheap. Now I want to say the gray book bags are cheap. So if it's mochilas, you treat it like ellas. And if you look down here, here's ellas, I should change my es to son. Okay, and then cheap would be for one book bag. This is multiple book bags, so I make it baratas. So redó. So I'm going to start with redó and make it plural. It ends in a consonant. I add es. Now that I have a plural redó, I can't use el. I have to use the plural spelling of the, which would be los. So los relojes grande went to describe one watch. This is or clock. This is multiple clocks, so I have to make it plural. It ends in a vowel, so I just add s. This said the big clock is expensive. Now it's the big clocks are expensive. So again, relojes you would treat like ellos, so I need to change my es to son. And then carro needs to become carros. Everything's got to be made plural. So el cuaderno azul es bueno. Cuaderno, I add an S to make it plural. Now I need the that goes with multiple notebooks. That would be los. So los cuadernos. Then I have to make azul agree. It was azul for one notebook. I have to make it a plural azul. It ends in a consonant, so I add an ES. Then I change it from es to son because I'm saying the blue notebook is good. Now I'm saying the blue notebooks are good. And then I have bueno, I have to add an S to it because I've made everything plural. So here, this intelligent student is hardworking. I want to make it students. I add an S. So then I have to change my L to the plural form, los. I have to add an S to my intelligent to make it plural. I change my es to son. And then I have trabajador. I want to make it hardworking for multiple people. It ends in a consonant, so I add an ES, and that's how I do that. Los estudiantes inteligentes son trabajadores.